Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to my lecture on case study research. I'm Dr. Ayaz Muhammad Khan. Dear students, let's go through what is case study research. Dear students, a case study is a research strategy and an empirical inquiry that investigates a phenomenon within its real life context. Case studies are based on an in-depth investigation of a single individual, group, or event to explore the causes of underlying principles. One thing which you must understand in its definition that a case study can be of a single individual like a narrative study, or it can be of group like you can go for some sort of ethnographical study or event. Similarly, in the social and life sciences, a case study is a research method involving an up close, in depth, and detailed examination of a particular case. As from the definition of J.C. Crosswell, clearly indicates that a case studies are usually go vertically in the depth of the phenomena rather than on the horizontal level or superficial level. Just look at these two as well. Involves the study of an issue explored through one or more cases within a bounded system. I mean, as they most of the time they are in natural setting, they must be done within a context where the phenomena is occurring. So you can go for one or for many cases at the same time. Meanwhile, it is a methodology or type of design in qualitative research or an object of study as well as product of an inquiry. So it can lead to some sort of theory. That is why we call it as an product of an inquiry. $1 million question arises in our mind that why we use case study method. You know, case study method, as I told you earlier in the previous slide as well, that when you wish to get deep into the phenomena and wish to go through all minute details of an event or phenomena, so you need to adopt this strategy of case study. It actually investigates a phenomena within its real life context. One thing which is very compulsory in case study method, that you have to do it in the real life context. That is why most of the time people prefer to do a qualitative research when they adopted a case study method. And then you can see that it is an analysis of person, group, events, decisions, periods, policies, institution, or other systems that are studied holistically by one or more method. So whenever your intent is to study something holistically, whether the something involves a single person or group of persons, single event or group of events, some decisions, policies, institutes, they all are called as case studies. Moreover, when you are studying a single school, a district composed of different schools, or a province or a country, even a continent, this is what we call a case study. Okay, before we go into the depth of this case study method, I would request all of you to follow this link on YouTube, where you would have a 5 minutes, approximately 5 minutes YouTube video that would tell you a little bit about the case study, what steps should be taken in the case study, and how it may be beneficial. After that, we will meet again and I'll tell you further details of case study. Dear students, if we just look at the history of case study, we see that in 1829, Frederick Lepley did the very first case study in order to explore the family budgets. Then we see that Glasser and Strauss, when they worked on grounded theory, the purpose of which was to explore a theory, actually most of their work can be attributed to case studies as well. These case studies method, though in many discipline, but in education it gained a lot of popularity. And now we do comparative case studies or international studies even among countries in social sciences, and then we work on policy, educational research. Similarly, discuss one approach which encourages researchers to compare horizontally, vertically, and temporally. Let's see what are the different types of case study. As a matter of fact, a case study research can take two forms. One is intrinsic and the other is instrumental. Intrinsic, as a matter of fact, is a specific case of interest. Maybe as an educational researcher, you wish to explore the ideas of a science teacher about science. So that would be a single case study that you would go through. But there can be instrumental, like where the case informs our understanding of a particular issue. It can be single case study as well as multiple cross case studies. But single case study, I mean, if we wish to know that how the results of a single or multiple case study may be generalized, so you can see that single case study have a thick description and they go for naturalistic generalization, meaning thereby if the same context is there, maybe it can be generalized. But multiple or cross case studies, due to the subjective nature of participants, fuzzy generalization, but it can give you a best estimate of trustworthiness. Okay, let's start with our discussion about recent examples of inductive case study research. You know, when we say inductive case study research, we talk about most of the research studies where our philosophical paradigm was either interpretivist or constructivist. So, Burgelman in 1983, when he conducted a study, we'll talk about the study, then description of cases, then what sort of research problem was there, what was their data source, how did they go for investigators, and what was the output. So if you just look at the first study, 6 internal corporate ventures in one major corporation. So in one major corporation, they went through 6 internet corporate ventures. uh, the research problem was management of new venture, how the new ventures were managed. Their data sources were actually the archives, their meeting notes, interviews, and some observation. Investigator was actually the single one. And what was output? That ultimately the end of the study was that they developed a process model linking multiple organizational levels. Mintzberg in 1985, he conducted a research, case study research of one National Film Board of Canada with 6 periods. from 1939 to 75. Uh, Purpose of the research problem was formulation of strategy in an adhocracy. Data source, simply when you have inductive, in most of the inductive, whether you have archives or interviews, but there was a full-fledged research teams or a team of investigators, and they ultimately developed strategy making themes, grassroots model of strategy formation. Similarly, you can say Harris and Seton with 8 diverse organization. Then Borges in 1988, 8 microcomputer firms, Jersic with 8 project groups with deadlines. You would see that uh, Pettigrew, one high performing and one low performing firm in each of 4 industries. And if you look at them, you would see in most of them, actually, there was a research team. A single investigator can do it as well, but sometimes it is good that you are work in a team whenever you have to get deep into the phenomena. And ultimately, you develop either a process model or a sort of theory that link different variables of a phenomena. This sketch, as a matter of fact, gives you how to develop a theory through case study research, design and procedure. Yen gave it in 2003. I mean, what you have to do is to define and design your research problem, then go and select cases. Your selection of cases should be very intelligible. I mean, if it is weak, then you won't be able to get deep into the phenomenon. Then you got to design how to collect your data, whether it is through interview, observation. Suppose you are going for interview, you got to develop an interview protocol, whether semi-structured or unstructured. Then, if there is a single case, then you have to conduct multiple interviews and observation. But if there are some cases in your case study, then you have to deal them individually. After individual case reports, you draw cross case conclusions. Now, at the end, when you have explored all cases individually, you start comparing them across one another. This is your portion of analysis and discussion. And then you modify theory, develop policy for implication, and wide and cross report. Uh, One thing you should be aware of it, that you can use quantitative data as well. So, though in most of the case studies, people prefer to use those people who are influenced by grounded theory, they go for qualitative data, but quantitative data is equally as important in these case studies as well. Here is a chart that actually shows you activities of case study process, its key dimensions, key decisions. The very first one should be formulating the research question, specifying the research purpose of the study. And you will have to see whether you are going to use exploratory, explanatory, or descriptive dimension. Then drafting a theoretical framework for a case research issue. uh, Here, I mean, if you are going for inductive theory building, then I don't think that you would need it at the very outset to write a theoretical framework. But if it is deductive theory testing, then you would surely use that thing. Here, you would use a prior theory. But keep it in your mind, when it is inductive theory building, then usually people do not do it. You have gone through grounded theory where you have to bracket things, but whenever it is deductive theory testing, then you can go for a priori theory. Then you have to define the case, what will be the unit of an analysis, and it should be holistic, single unit of analysis, embedded multiple units of analysis within the case. Then you go for choosing a set of business network, that how many, whether it is a single case study, multiple case study, theoretical purpose sampling you would use, or you would go for maximum variation in sampling, or whether it will be homogeneous or heterogeneous. Then our steps would be selecting appropriate data sources, who people would give us the data. In qualitative case studies, interviews, and in quantitative case studies, you go for surveys, and mixed method, you can go for both. Planning the access of the study of change and dynamic issues, you got to see whether you are going longitudinally, whether it will go quite, this study would go for quite a long time, or it would be a snapshot, as a matter of fact. Last, one or 2 points, analysis of findings, where you use, I mean, if you have quantitative data, then you go for quantitative analysis, but if most of the time it is qualitative, so content analysis, pattern coding, memoing, and you go for triangulation as well. Lastly, when you go for writing and presenting case reports, they should be very enriched. Your key decision would be presenting and discussion of the findings in a way that the holistic structure may appear at the end of this case study research. Here are some of the steps of the case study that might be very useful for you. As described by Alan Harrison, uh, when you just get started, you got to see what will be the definition of your research question, what would be the priori constructs, uh, as I told you earlier, whether it is quantitative or qualitative, whether it is deductive verification of the theory or inductive generation of the theory. So this is the point where you have to think what you are going to do. Then you would select the cases, craft instrument and protocols. We have already discussed in the previous presentation. Entering the field, here you got to be very careful. If you are a qualitative researcher, researcher himself or herself is the major instrument. So your selection of the participants, asking them the questions, and from those questions or from those answers, generating something that leads to a particular hypothesis would be outstanding. Dear students, this video comprising of 16 minutes is on YouTube. You can go to that link and watch this video. I'm sure that your concepts would brighten as well, or clarity of the concept would be more when you will get over this link and see this thing. Okay, let's talk about some of the types of data analysis. The very first one is the holistic analysis, second is embedded analysis, then detail description, and last one, analysis of themes. Now let's discuss it one by one. As the name indicates, holistic analysis, it actually examines the entire case and present the description, themes, and interpretation related to the whole case. So you could have a holistic view of the phenomenon. But there is an embedded analysis where you select one analytical aspect of case for presentation. Just recall in your mind the Qusur incident. Maybe as a researcher you might go there for tracing the responses of schoolgirls at different levels just after the event took place. Uh, you would rather collect data on the responses of the other schoolgirls about that particular phenomenon. So this sort of analysis is called as embedded analysis, where you analyze the things which are embedded to the major phenomena. Then detailed description stating the fact as recorded by the investigator. You can go through John Creswell, where you would have that detailed description. Then analysis of themes. This is what you do uh, when you have large cluster of ideas and providing details that support themes, not to generalize about the case but to better understand the complexity of the case. This data analysis approach was described by actually Maxwell, where he believes that if you wish to have in-depth portrait of cases, what you have to do, that you got to go for the case context. And here you can identify case 1, 2, 3, and as per their context, you go for the case description as well. Then within the case theme analysis, this is very important. If you have three cases, it means you have three different themes. So what you would do, you would be actually analyzing the themes with their commonalities, where their differences, and then cross case theme analysis, similarities and differences, which I have already mentioned to you. Then you would go for assertions and generalization, if it is possible that they can be generalized to the same setting and context anywhere else. Dear all, you know that all research types have their pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. Just look at some of the advantages of case study. The most important is that it simplifies complex concepts. You choose a single event or single case study or multiple. The purpose is to simplify the complex concept associated to that case. Actually, the case studies expose the participants to real life situation, which otherwise is difficult. Uh, it turns it truly helps in adding values to the participants through discussion on concrete subject. Uh, you go in detail with the participants, rather you go time and again to the participants, and you do it unless you reach that point of saturation. Then it improves analytical thinking, communication, developing tolerance for different views on the same subject, ability to defend one's own point of view with logic, and enhances teamwork of the participant, making them efficient over time. So when you go for single or when you go for many people for a single event, you have very contrasting ideas. And here, actually, this is an exam of your analytical thinking. The main solution which comes out of the case act as ready reference when participants face similar problems at workplaces. Here is a list of the disadvantages. It may be difficult to find an appropriate case study to suit to all subjects. Generalizability is difficult. Case studies contain the study of observation and perception of one person. There are chances that person presenting the case study may completely present it in one manner, missing other aspects completely. And here you would recall my statement that researcher himself or herself is the biggest instrument. You are conducting interview, but you never go for probing You never go for digging deep into the phenomena. You never go for looking into the phenomena vertically and horizontally. You won't be able to come up with some good things. Uh, Time management is another important thing in case study methods. And then there is no right answer. The problem arises in validation of solution, because there are many more than one way to look at things. It best suited to the advanced training programs when compared to basic level training programs, and at certain level of maturity of participant is required, which I have already mentioned to you, that if your participants, if you choose the participants which are not, number one, well versed, who are not uh, exposed to that event very deeply, they won't be able to give you good details. Dear students, if you want to make your concepts pretty much clear about case study, after my lecture, I would request you to watch this YouTube video. Uh, it will help you a lot. Number one, it will help you in understanding what I have already told you. It will add to your knowledge as well. So please get over it. Watch this video whenever you have a little bit time. Dear student, here is a list of suggested readings. I mean, if you study just one or two books, that would help you a lot in understanding this case study research. And it never ends. Things are not static. When more and more books are coming in the market with different version, different ways of analyzing or looking at case study method, you would enjoy a lot.